artificial intelligence is a tool.
Do you know the capabilities of artificial intelligence in 2025? This episode, we have a returning guest back on the show, Jerimiah, an AI expert who's mastered many businesses. We are going deep into these questions. This is The Growth Concept. Jerimiah, welcome back to The Growth Concept podcast.
Let's get it.
Last episode, we went in deep with modern business, sacrifices which young entrepreneurs may not be aware of in this day and age. And we touched on your goal setting and your journey as an entrepreneur so far.
Thanks for having me, man. Happy to be back and excited to see what we have for today.
The last question you left for the guests that I interviewed on The Growth Concept was this question, and I want you to answer it because I think this question is really interesting and your perspective may flow in well with the content for this episode.
Let's go.
When you look back at your future, what is one thing everyone doesn't see coming but needs to start preparing for?
I would say the one thing that a lot of people don't see coming is how the shift between what happens right now in person and what AI is going to do to connections. So a lot of people understand that AI is something that is a new invention, but people don't really grasp how much it's going to either disconnect us as human beings or really give us the opportunity to connect. Because AI is going to do a lot of what we are already doing, and then a lot of people will be left with the big thing, which is, what am I actually meant to do? A lot of people will be exposed to now really looking for purpose and meaning, not just fluffing around, like genuinely looking for purpose. So I think that's one thing a lot of people don't see coming.
What do you think we can do right now to start preparing for this?
So when it comes to preparation for the future, it's one word: intent. The biggest thing that you can do for yourself as an entrepreneur, as a mom, as a dad, as a uni student, as a person who works a job, as a marketer, whatever domain that you're in, is be intentional with everything that you're doing. But if we're speaking specifically in regard to AI, there's so many different things that you could be doing.
Do you think entrepreneurs and society in general, there's not enough clear of an intention for people to grow with AI? Like they're going into this AI with not enough intention behind what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Because look, the biggest thing, so when I'm consulting with business owners, the first thing that I ask them before even explaining to them what we can do is, what does AI mean to you? Because AI in my head and in my brain is so different to Kioni.
Yeah.
So we need to be on the same page. So the first most important thing is understanding what AI actually is. It's just a buzzword right now. But what is AI? I'll ask you.
What I think AI is.
What is AI to you?
An accelerator.
Okay.
That's the thing, as you were talking about with intention. If you don't have an intention with AI, like for example, ChatGPT 4, you could program that AI to know you, know your needs, know your wants. And that way, for example, I use it for the podcast when it comes to researching adaptation with the podcast, because it knows my podcast, knows my mission, knows my target audience. And that way it can kind of help with approach from a different perspective. What I think AI is an accelerator, because when you use it with intention, it can 10x your growth, whether that's in your business, asking for advice, tips. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so let's break it down. So I'm a firm believer in first principles thinking. Artificial intelligence, right? AI. Artificial comes from the word artifact, which means man-made. Intelligence comes from intent, right? Intelligence is a way of thinking. So if you really break it down to its fundamental principle, AI is essentially man-made way of thinking. So we are creating something that is already there. So there's nothing new under the sun. That's the base level. When you take it up a notch, now you understand, okay, this is artificial intelligence. It's something that we're creating. How I explain it to business owners is AI or artificial intelligence is simply having a form of intellect. That's where intelligence comes in. Intelligence comes from the word intellect. A form of intelligence that doesn't need to have a coffee, doesn't need to sleep, and it doesn't need to be reminded. Those are the three big parts in which AI plays a role. Then its applications are very different, again, which we'll get into as we get into the podcast.
Do you think, obviously, with AI rapidly excelling, that it is tampering the growth of people thinking for themselves? They're relying too much on AI for help, whether that's scaling, and they're not figuring these out on their own? Or do you think implementing AI straight away is more crucial than ever and relying on that because it's not going anywhere? What are your thoughts?
So I look at it this way. So it's a tool. It's
Mm.
like money. Money is a tool. Artificial intelligence is a tool. It's more about the application. So right now there's a bit of research and stats on the fact that when you're using AI, it actually decreases the amount of creativity that you're able to generate. But that's not applicable for every individual. But generally speaking, it applies to the masses. But how I see it is it's a tool. So it's more so about there's never been so much knowledge ever in history. There's so much knowledge on how to use this camera, how to do that, and AI is literally on your fingertips. But I think it's more about understanding how to use AI in conjunction with your own thinking. It's almost like the best way to put it is an assistant. It doesn't it can do some work for you, but it should enhance what you're already doing and your capabilities. So knowledge is no longer the barrier to entry. Like if you look at the times and how things have evolved, back in the day, you needed to know the stuff. Like
Yeah, exactly.
you needed to know how to literally fix a bike. Excuse me. But now there's certain things that I say I can do, not because I can actually do them, but because I know where to find the information to then be able to do and execute.
Mm.
So yeah, I won't replace your job.
It might.
In mind.
AI in your business. Last episode we spoke about your past businesses. You were selling gym equipment, then you got into your car business, you had a personal brand, clothing brand, and now you're an AI consultant. At what point in this timeline did you start implementing AI, learning about it, researching? Like, how did you go about learning to use AI as a tool when you had no knowledge whatsoever?
So for me, my skill stack is very sporadic. It's very scattered. So obviously, having been in the fitness industry and having technical knowledge in terms of architecture design, because I did study civil and structural design, and then obviously being a consultant, getting into marketing, sales, having dabbled in all of these different domains, I got to a point where I had to ask myself, where am I coming from? What's my experience? Where am I like right now, and where do I want to be? So my perception of where the future was what got me into AI within the last 12 months. So it started with me implementing AI in my field, right? Sales, marketing, fitness. In terms, when I say fitness, I don't mean having a bot going to the gym with me, but in the scope of my business, I was my niche was fitness. So applying artificial intelligence fundamentals when it comes to the overheads of getting research from the customers to automating redundant tasks to then fulfill a product in the fitness. That's how I would relate. But it just came about with time.
With your fitness, when
Yeah.
you were selling equipment at this stage in your life, were you using AI, or was this before it was developed? Because what year was this?
This
Oh,
this was probably 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So my fitness journey has been of the last 5 years,
Yep.
but it's changed so much, and it's been very sporadic again, like I
Yeah.
mentioned. But only of the last 12 to 24 months did I really start getting hands on with AI.
So you didn't start off with AI.
No.
What did that transition process look like for you?
So it started with me. So when I got into obviously having my own business, when you have your own business, there's a phase of your life or phase of the business where you're doing everything.
Is this in your AI consultancy or what business are we talking about?
So this would be more of it would be more of when I was doing events, fitness events. So I was a coach, still coaching and getting, at that point, I still had my fitness brand.
Yep.
So it was more on the branding aspect of things, doing events. So I would use it to almost create employees to do what I didn't really like doing. So even when you look at some of my really old videos, that was like somewhat AI. A lot of it would be AI, prompt engineering it, and just letting it do what I'm not good at. right? But then now I would say, over the last 24 months, it was really when I was doing events and structuring a lot of the marketing operations and sales side of things was where I started dabbling with it. And then this year, obviously, of the last 12 months is when I really got hands on with it to the T.
When you say you got hands on with it, help me understand what this looks like. Is this you really understanding what ChatGPT or other AI platforms out there?
There's a lot when it comes to AI. So let's really just now break it down. So AI obviously is, we understand it helps us do work. It's automations, building assistants. So when I say I got hands on with it, it's me building the infrastructure. It's me understanding code. I'm not a developer, but me understanding code, me understanding APIs, API keys, me understanding webhooks, me building out automations. So literally fleshing out, understanding. I would consult with a business owner, understand what their process looks like, what their service is, from production to fulfillment to customer journey, and then identifying elements of the business where there's, number one, inefficiencies. The second thing is identifying where there's drastic expenditure. So where they're spending so much on maybe marketing, operations, and then saying, hey, look, I can build out this thing. Right now you're spending maybe 100 grand every 6 months to have this. But what if we build out a system that runs efficiently, more efficiently, at 30% of the cost? So really fleshing out what platforms that they are currently using, the systems that the business already has, and really building out brick by brick what could look like something that could almost be plugged into their business.
Are you talking about the buyer's stage of the business and having an AI consider each buyer's stage that the business offers?
Yeah, so it varies from business to business. So when you look at, so let's use a real case study right now. So say there's a med spa that we're working with right now, and they have operations in terms of marketing, sales, right? So that looks like, when you look at the med spa industry, it's very service based, right? So everything that they're offering is a service. So we look at the services that they're running and then their marketing and sales. So having AI literally reach out to their clientele, their niche, and let them know about the promotions, memberships, and things of that nature. And that looks very different to everyone. But in this case, for this case study, it would be reactivating their database of people who've bought from them, letting them know about the new promotions. If somebody's birthday is coming up, you forget, when's my birthday, bro?
It was last Tuesday.
Okay, you remember. So you're
Bro, putting me on the spot like that.
But automating certain things, like on Keone's birthday, he gets a gift. He gets a 5%, 20% discount. So certain little things like that really enhance how the business works.
Businesses are already doing this, right?
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that relying on one person to keep track of, or a team to keep track of all these things that AI is taking over?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what is a job? A job is a set of tasks. A job is expectations. Those are deliverables that can be trained into someone. So how I put it is, what I do essentially is, think of your best employee, right? And we replicate their tasks and have them have an assistant co-working with them. The best employees, you find that a lot of in business, and I stand to be corrected, but the best employees, a lot of their work is directly connected to the customer. And if they can have more time with the customer, the business does so much better. But because there's a lot of administrative repetitive tasks that they may or may not like, you can help them with that, so that they focus a lot more of their energy to really being with the customer and maybe just managing the system, the AI, right?
Good point. Good point. So people are tuning into this live stream and they're probably like, this is so much information about AI. AI is a deep hole and it's constantly evolving, adapting to, like, a month of change now is like a year back in like the 90s. Like, change is constantly and rapidly accelerating every single day. Someone's tuning into this live stream and they're like, Jeremiah, how can I learn about this right now to start implementing it? Let's just say it's a fitness coaching business or a podcast, and then I want to start implementing AI in my business now. Where do I start?
So where do you start? The first thing, and I love to hear the thoughts of some people who
Mm.
think of this. The first thing you do is try to replace yourself.
Try and replace yourself.
Yep.
Okay, what does that look like?
Practically, I'll give an example. Elon Musk, I'm not too sure of those of you who follow his work. I do follow a lot of his work because he's really pushing the needle in terms of development. He's an engineer and he's creating AI engineers. So of recent, he's been talking about how they're now trying to create AI employees, like physical. And the
Mm.
biggest part, that's the biggest challenge that they're experiencing right now is the hands, because hands are so complex, right? Think of how much you can do with your hands.
Yeah.
Think of how much you can do with your hands. You can play a keyboard, you could hit someone, you could have a handshake, you could do so much, but that's been the biggest complication. So he's now re-engineering AI assistants that are physically capable of engineering products, working in the factories. If you look at Tesla or any of his companies, they're literally machines doing the work. If you look at China, China does have robots literally serving you and doing all of these repetitive tasks. Now, when I say replacing yourself, let's break it down. What do you do? What's your niche? What's your business? What's your job? Think of how you can use AI, for instance, in this case, ChatGPT, to think the way you think and have that in a knowledge base. There's so many different platforms. Obviously, there's ChatGPT, there's Claude. If you're somebody who's technical, think of ways of creating something that's an extension of you.
You say make ChatGPT think the way you think. What does that mean? Like, do I tell ChatGPT this is my personality, this is how I act, and then it does it for you?
So there's two ways you can approach this. If you're high risk like myself, you your AI assistant knows everything about you. AI knows more about me than maybe I do about myself because it never forgets.
Yeah, good point.
And this is the interesting thing. So I use ChatGPT obviously like everybody else. You have ChatGPT 4, then there's 5. Claude is a lot more. It's a lot more assertive.
Did you
So,
say Cora?
Claude. So Claude, CLAUDE.
Is that the Microsoft chatbot?
No, so Claude is another agentic feature. It's an LLM. So just like ChatGPT,
LMM.
LLM,
Sorry, say this slowly.
L
L
L
L
M.
LLM. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just a learning language model. So it's like ChatGPT, you have Gemini, Perplexity, you have Claude. All of these are different types of agentic features or agentic systems that pretty much do the same thing. You put in a prompt and it can either
So the
generate.
same thing as ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just think of ChatGPT, but code different.
It's just different streams of it.
Yeah, just different
Do
streams.
they have different agendas?
Agendas, not necessarily, yes, but they have different capabilities. They have different ways of processing information. So I've found that playing around with all of these different ones, it's some are better at certain types of logical tasks. Some are better at you quote unquote emotional. And when they process information, they're able to process it in real time, like in real time data. So they'll be able to access current information based on whatever is available on the web and give you feedback. So I found, for instance, Claude, sometimes even when I'm going on drives, I did a 15K run and I was talking to my agent. Real time conversation, just the way we're talking.
During the run?
During the run,
Wow.
15K. And I'm talking to it. Yeah, so tell me about, Richard Branson and how did he do this? And yeah, so it tells me all of that. So when it comes to understanding how you can use AI right now, wherever you are, start with just literally putting whatever is in your head, let's say in a specific field, into a prompt and just learn off it. So ask it questions, give it different ways. If you're in, say, for instance, if you're in your business is podcasting, right? So have an AI that can give you feedback on how you can do better and prompt it based on, say, maybe somebody you're looking up to and say, imagine you are Stephen Bartlett. How would you have a podcast with Jeremiah Bear and given this criteria? You obviously do use ChatGPT,
Yeah.
but it's really getting your brain, putting it into some sort of language module. That's like a start.
Let's talk about, okay, so what I've gotten from that
Mm.
information is for someone starting out their personal brand, there's so many different AI platforms out there. Do your research on what one suits your business personal brand best, because there's so many out there, right?
Yep.
And then from there, coding that AI to your specific niche, good services you're offering, your mission. What questions do I ask it to identify and the AI get to know my business model? Like, what key things do I need to consider when prompting and telling this AI about myself?
Okay, so you look at it from this reference point. So there's past, present, and future.
Mm.
That's like PPF, right? So if you have that framework when you're approaching AI, it literally makes everything easy. So let AI know about your past, your experiences, what you've gone through. Either, in this case, maybe your business. So let's say, for instance, you have your business and you want to get to a certain destination. It's good to look at where you're coming from. So you say, look, for instance, I've done X, Y, and Z in the past. It didn't work. Right now, this is where I am. Right now, I have $100 in my bank account and I have 5 people who I can call, Kioni, my videographers, and whoever else. And I want to get to this destination. What would be the best, most efficient approach to get there by a certain date? So you give it information. So a lot of people debate and say, don't give it too much information. Just give it like one prompt. Some people say, give it as much information. Look, find what works for you. I don't give advice generic, or I don't give advice convergently thinking. I'm divergent because we're all different.
Mm.
So when you're training AI, past, present, and future, and let it give you real
That's the
time.
framework that
That's the framework.
works.
That's the framework
Gotcha.
that works 100%. Because it's not just giving you, I can't just say, look, I've got $50. I want to go to Mars. It's like, why do you want to go to Mars? But if I say, hey, look, I watched this movie when I was 5 and it really inspired me to be curious about the world. And now I met Keone and he's such a great guy and he looks so dapper. And all of a sudden, I want to get to Mars for XYZ reasons. You give goals, you give some sort of direction. It then has a lot more reasoning. They call it reasoning. A lot more reasoning and tailoring its response to you.
Mm.
Right? Not to anybody, but to you, because you've given
It's
it.
getting that tailored response.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then, okay, now we know the questions, the past, present, future. We got to tell this AI for it to know us, know about our niche, our business model, our intentions, and mission. Once we have this information and it's generated it, what's the next step that we need to do? Obviously, implementation, take action, of course. But what next in the journey of this AI process?
Okay. So the first thing, you've obviously gotten the AI to know about you. You've given it a few prompts. The second thing you should be doing now is looking at some AI softwares that you can use to execute what you are already doing. So even with Jesh, he does a lot of my personal brand. I get him to try to do things that he can do, but get AI to do it. Why? Because now you're getting not only just there's this funny saying that a lot of people on LinkedIn are strategists, but not people are executors, because everyone can plan, right? Everyone can plan and, have this great idea of, I'm going to do this. But in reality, what gets shit done is getting shit done, right? Not talking about it, not reading a book.
Like we were saying
Remember
last
we were
episode,
going through
talking
this.
about it isn't doing the thing.
Nah, it's not.
Yeah.
So get AI to do the thing. If you're a videographer, simple. Use a lot. And the thing is, you have to be patient with these things because they're only being developed. They're only getting better. So everything that you do, you should have some sort of AI system or platform that you're engaging with based on your niche, based on your market, based on anything that's, because people are literally niching down right now. If you're a soccer player, don't just use ChatGPT. You can go use ChatGPT, but if you want to really push it a needle, like let's use a soccer player.
Okay.
Very, very random example,
Good example because it's obviously based on the action
right?
that AI can't do. But I'm interested to see where
So
this is going.
yeah, you're a soccer player. Obviously, you can have ChatGPT use the PPF, past, present, and future, and then now you want to execute. What's your goal? You want to become better. You can literally use these platforms that you can use. I don't have any off the top of my head because I haven't played soccer in like 7 years, but you can have your phone filming you and you practicing a certain skill. Watch the video and ask the AI to critique your moves and tell you what you could do better.
Mm.
That's a soccer player.
That's the thing. I feel like it has rapidly accelerated,
Yeah.
and we aren't catching on yet. Well, personally for me, like I've never thought of that. Like
Yeah.
at the moment, I'm training Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And I haven't even thought about sending my video to AI and being like, okay, how can I improve? Is that something? Is that only one example which people aren't aware of on the expansion? Like, what are some other key things people gotta expose themselves to? Let's say.
I'll be a lot more tailored. So I would assume that the majority of the people who would be watching this are either entrepreneurs, maybe studying, a bit curious about business. So let's say you're in business. When you look at business, understand your customer.
Mm.
That's one thing. The second thing is understand the field that you're in. Australians are Australia is built around a lot of the mining sector, right? So there's use case applications that you can use. So let's say you're in FIFO, you're working FIFO, and you want to use AI. What does your day to day look like? And it really depends on how extreme you want to go with it.
Mm.
There's literally automated trucks in the mine site that run
Yeah.
without or with minimal human supervision. So now your chain of thought could be, and the thing is, a lot of people need to understand that you need to have expectations of it or not, because sometimes just being around it, there's what they call first movers advantage. And you're wondering, why is Jerry doing, all this AI stuff? It's because right now, AI and crypto are by far they're going to be the biggest shifters. And even if what you create may just be like, you could fluke it, you could be lucky and
Mm.
create something that drastically changes the world. But you need to be, it's almost like in a dark room. I feel like right now we're in a dark room because not everybody knows what AI could do. Could it wipe our jobs? Could it, replace human beings? Are we going to have some of these sci-fi movies come to life?
Yeah, literally, there's so much fear in it
Right?
too.
Right? So it's about understanding that there's two things. I went to boarding school and I say this, right? It was get bullied or be the bully. And you can flap around there and be like, but it's you can be the bully or learn how to be a bully and not bully. Just learn the tool. However, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
So I don't promote violence, but I'm just giving an analogy of
Yeah.
a framework that was, instilled into me. It was learn the tools, even if you don't use them, have them.
Okay, so is this learn the tool of AI, even if you do want to use it or don't want to use it?
Mm, exactly that. So if you learn the two, then I have my hanky somewhere, but yeah, if you learn the two, then you can be in a better position in case you need to use it
Mm.
for good. Preferably use it for good because at the end of the day, that's what is going to push humanity forward,
Yeah.
right? So understand the fundamentals of AI and start using it within your niche. Start where you are. And the biggest thing is PPF is such a good framework because it's about intent. You're constantly looking at asking yourself, where do I actually want to be? What do I want to take what I'm doing? And how can I use AI right now? And knowing the reason to use AI, it leverages so many things. You can get a lot out of it.
Mm. So with the business model of AI, the general model of how it works, the prompt, past, present, and future, a business or personal brand wanting to implement AI right now, what we've spoken about, the knowing the different AI platforms out there, the prompt is so important. That's crucial. And now we know the action plan to AI. What parts of business that jobs will be taken over Will it be, you were saying last episode, it's the low valued repetitive tasks, those customer service roles, there's AI chatbots now on websites and stuff. Is it now implementing that in your business personal brand so it's then automated and doesn't need someone's presence?
So I think we're still far away from, not far away because things are moving rapidly. We can automate a lot of these things, but there's always updates as well.
Yeah.
For instance, and there's always new things, right? So I always give this to when I'm working with anyone in business. So there's a framework that I use, and it's just simple, most. And I give it that way because people need to understand that most businesses struggle with these things. By the framework, most in itself, M, marketing, operations, sales, and the team. That's all businesses.
That's Soford, your business name, right?
Self-it is a whole different thing. Self-optimizing force, inspiring transformation.
Yeah.
I prefer to have frameworks because it gives me a framework literally to work through. So you obviously have a lot more different. That's the scope of business. You've got legal, finance, but we won't talk about that because that's a whole different domain. But the life and oxygen of a business is marketing, operations, sales, and the team.
Mm.
Right? So you start with the marketing. Let's tailor it to any individual. With the marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is literally telling somebody about your product
Exactly.
or about your service.
Which is the awareness stage on the buyer's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example of one of our AI automations in marketing. It's lead reactivation. So for these businesses that we're working with right now that have like thousands of leads, maybe let's say they give us a database of 10,000 people who've purchased from them. What do we do with that database? We reactivate that database by obviously automating either SMSs or emails, even voice agents, re-engaging with the people who've purchased from you and let them know about your offers. So let's say right now you've got a barbering business and you're doing 50% off for Black Friday. You could do two things. You could use ads, which is, market to a whole lot of people that haven't heard of you, but try to niche it to get to them, or market to the people who've already bought from you to buy again. That's what we do. So we have an AI that sends them emails, maybe calls them, and the AI is literally trying to just let them know about. It's like email marketing, very generic way. The first thing is people just blast out emails, but this is customizing each email to the right person. If Keone loves coconut water, so we set up an AI that after this it would send you an email saying, dude, appreciate the coconut water and your podcast is so amazing. Just that fraction of personalization is what changes the game. But then if you're looking at generic, like if you've got 10,000 people who've bought from you and you want to reach out to all of them by yourself, dude, like that would be right.
Yeah.
But if you have AI that literally feeds off certain information and customizes each outreach to that person, wouldn't you take it?
Yeah, exactly. I want to say something on that point, the authenticity with AI, authentic AI, like what we were talking about. Tailoring the AI to be authentic is so important because I feel like human error is now becoming valued because AI is perfection. It's perfect. Obviously, there's faults in it, but getting an email that is more authentic, personalized, humanized, let's say. So the other week I got an email and the person who sent this email forgot to change the AI stuff. So it said to this person, and I'm like, going straight in the junk folder, not replying to that. Because people got to be so careful on how they use it, making sure they add the humanized aspect to it. Do you feel in obviously observing the AI space, there is too much reliant on AI's personality and not implementing enough authenticity, humanized personality into it?
What is authenticity?
You, yourself. That's the way I view it. It's like, for example, I guess what is authenticity? Yourself. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you engage. That's authenticity.
So people look at authenticity in a very convergent way. When I say convergent, I mean looking at it as one thing.
Mm.
Authenticity is essentially being, like literally just its character.
Yeah.
You can't really quantify authenticity as a convergent thing because there's so many different things. You, Keone, right now on the podcast is different to you at home.
Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
met you on a podcast and I saw you at home and they're two different people and I said, he's not authentic, is that accurate or inaccurate?
Good point. I haven't thought of it that way. I would say that's as in like that. Is that example accurate of an authenticity?
If I saw you on a podcast right now as we're
Yeah.
interacting and I saw a video of how you talk to your mom and maybe let's say I trust that I heavily trust you talk to her, right? Because
Oh,
you
100%.
you give that aura.
Yeah.
That's the type of man that you are. But let's say you don't talk to her that way. And I saw two videos and I say he's not authentic. Is that accurate?
But that's the thing. You're talking about personal life. Well, that's the thing with personal branding. It's got to be authentic. But this, yeah, you've got me there.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Now,
good.
let me give you a bit more context with that being said. So the reason why I gave that example is because people think authentic is one thing. Like this is me, this is who I am, this is, no. Authentic essentially is character.
Personality.
No, personality is just a subset
But
of character.
personality creates this character. Of
You've got
yourself.
different personalities. We all have different
Yeah.
personalities. And the reason why I say that is because our personalities are heavily dependent. It's a mirror. Have you heard of the mirror effect? So there's a lot that I study psychology, that's why
Yeah.
maybe I kind of have knowledge on this. So there's a lot that goes on when it comes to mirroring a person. So for instance, I realize that a lot of people, when I'm talking to people, you can either be the person setting the tone. There's thermometer. I don't know if you remember, I said this last time. There's thermometers or there's thermostats. Thermostats set the temperature in a room. Thermometers adjust to the temperature. Now, why am I giving all of this reference? Because you could be having a conversation with somebody. When I walked into the studio today, I was big energy. And because of that, I would assume, but I'm very confident. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, this guy's here. Let's kick it.
100%.
But if I walked in like, hey, man, what's up?
Good to see you.
People would have
Yeah.
received that and that would have, set the tone potentially. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is a personality is it's a moment. It's like happiness. You can't say happiness is it's a state. It's a fraction of the whole journey. It's a fraction of the picture. So you got a picture and then there's the feature in the picture. So that's how I see authenticity or personality. So your personality does vary from person to person because when I'm with Keone, I'm like super happy.
Yeah.
I may walk out of this room and just meet one random person and they may have a different personality that brings out a different version of me. Does that make me inauthentic? No. So authenticity isn't what a lot of people think it is. I'm writing a book right now, and these are some of the aspects that I talk about because there's a lot of misconception in human behavior.
Good point. I see that too.
Yeah. So now it will get to the point where businesses will only want to work or customers will only want to buy from people who are using AI because then it makes you seem like you take yourself serious. And the reason why I'm saying that is, for instance, if Nike sent you Nike, right? Nike, pronunciation, potato. If Nike sent you an email saying, hey, Keone, we've got these new shoes and they're going for whatever price. And in there's a typo. And you see a typo they've just butchered the whole wording. Instead of saying, hey, Keone, we appreciate with there, like, hey, appreciate Keone, blah. And there's a lot of fluff.
Yeah. Unprofessional.
And it's a human being. He's authentic. He's authentic, no? But he's being authentic. Shouldn't we like take it on?
Oh, I feel like it depends on the industry. Like,
but he's authentic.
Yeah, but depends who you're dealing with in this sense. For example, if I send you an email being like, look, man, looking forward to this episode and there's a typo there, that's completely different to if I'm trying to sell you a product or service or transfer you through.
Is that a fact, journey. An opinion, or a belief?
Opinion.
Okay, you're entitled to an opinion. And so am I.
100%.
So
Good point.
Do you see how I'm pretty much stripping it apart? Now, people who are using AI and the AI literally, if you said that you're interested in Nike SBs and you only receive an email based on that need and all of that, people take you seriously. I was watching an episode of Stephen Bartlett, who has a podcast, and before, like right after the filming somebody or film recording with someone, they receive a book of the podcast. But while the podcast is happening, they're taking photos and everything is happening. As soon as the guest is done and they're getting into their car, leaving, they're like, hey, man, by the way, we made your book. Real time in 1 hour. But that's, you leverage AI. When I say certain,
Yeah.
like when the person says certain things and punchy quotes and all of that, it has all of that. But you can only move at that pace when you're able to leverage certain tools. The reason why I'm saying this is because if we're not using it, because it's like money, right? Some people, I ask people this, right? Would money change you? Some people ask me this, and I ask back, would money change? Would money make you
I
different?
think, yeah, we were having a coffee and it was us and Oren.
Yes.
Oren, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and you go, would money change you? And, what was your response?
It would only amplify what I already am.
Mm.
I see AI the same. So if I'm a douche, if I'm a jerk, if I'm a bad person, AI is just like me Pro Max. It's like,
Yeah, it's going to emphasize
it's
that.
gonna
yeah.
emphasize that. So it's about understanding. Firstly, it comes back to you.
The intention.
How can you become better as an individual and then use these tools to move quicker, to move better, to move bigger, to move stronger, have bigger strides in your execution as a business?
Mm.
That's the reference point that I'm looking at. So as a person, as an individual, if I invested $1 million in the growth concept, I know for a fact this podcast will blow up. Not that it's not already, but it would potentially either, when I say blow up, it could be blow up good or blow up bad. Because
That's the one thing I heard. AI, there's two sides to it. It will either enhance you drastically,
Yeah.
or destroy you drastically. And there's no middle ground in that. It's one side or the other. That's something that's always been on my mind, that utilizing it to
Yeah.
your benefit and knowing the difference. I think that goes back to the education side, as we were talking about earlier. With AI, I want you to answer these questions in one sentence.
Let's go.
What's the biggest fear you have or you see people have with AI?
I think I really think ahead of myself. I'm very aware, but I'm not always present. But one of the concerns, it's not really a fear, I would say, is AI, artificial intelligence, ending humanity.
Hmm.
And I think from that lens, because AI will be capable of doing much more than we can, and AI will be able to self-reproduce. And it sounds, when you see these podcasts, it sounds cool. These guys talking about AI, it sounds cool, right?
Scary.
But these are serious things that I'm genuinely concerned about. And I know that if I'm going to be, it's like, think of World War II, right? If there was gyms then, you'd be hitting the gym, bro. Like, you'd be hitting the gym because you know what's coming up,
Yeah, I guess.
right? You'd be doing something to prepare for it.
Mm.
That's why I'm heavily invested in AI and crypto, because I know what will come of. It's two things. You're either equipped enough to be a part of the bulk that make good out of it, or be a sheep amongst the crowd. So for me, I'm leading inventions, I'm leading creativity in this space, because I know that the capabilities of AI are unknown. We don't know what it can become. We don't know if we're going to create something that literally, because think of it, AI it's automations, right? It right now, it's very interesting. I think AI is almost an attempt to recreate the spiritual realm. And I'm not sure if you're too spiritual, but if you think of how spiritual things are, you don't really see what's happening. I think of artificial intelligence very similarly. You don't see, like, for instance, right now, if I say to my AI assistant, hey, I want you to do all this information, I won't see the code. I won't see the technicalities of it. I'm just going to see the execution.
Yeah.
So we don't know what we are creating, but you need to be able to control what you can control in that moment.
Which is the prompt.
That's just like the first part.
Yeah.
The second part is being able to control what's within, what you can do, your capabilities, your understanding, the technical aspects of it. You asked me what businesses can be doing. They can also be engaging people who are experts in the field. There's literally where the company I was consulting at has now introduced just a department for AI just to experiment. That's the level of intent people need to have, because people don't understand. Like, people genuinely don't understand the complexities of which AI could deliver. Especially, for instance, in Australia, I think we're a bit laid back and, chill.
We're
And
so late to everything too.
it's like, if you want to have a meeting with somebody, it's like, yeah, we're gonna have a meeting next week. Like, bro, let's have a meeting yesterday, bro. Like, let's move quick.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
The machine learning of ML, of AI, is rapidly expanding, and it's getting to a point where we can no longer understand AI because it has access to the whole internet. Quantum computing is now being understood by AI, and AI is rapidly excelling to understand it way better than we ever will. Do you see that AI is going to get to a point where we no longer understand it and it's out of our reach to get control of it again?
Yes. I think it will get to that point where we may not have 100% control, and AI will have some control of its own capabilities.
Yeah.
And there will be, like, right now, one industry, if there's anybody who's maybe in uni and thinking of what field to get into, I would recommend, I'm not doing it myself because I don't believe in uni, but that's a whole different conversation, but studying something to deal with AI safety. It's something very new, and it's something that not a lot of people are talking about, because AI safety is essentially guardrails on AI and limitations, because there's no law that, like, right now is, people who are sleeping on AI are just, like, literally sleeping on AI. Right now there's no control. It's like back in the day, TikTok, right? You could post a video, and if you had been posting for 10 years ago, right now you'd be like 1 million followers. With AI, it's the same. If you start using AI yesterday and you keep using it, leveraging with all the tools that I mentioned in Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, if you're somebody who does marketing operations, use make.com, NAN, try to automate some of these tasks. If you can leverage that now, you'd be far ahead of the game. Like, when that time comes, whatever that time is.
Such a good point. Let's touch on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
ChatGPT 4 was announced in 2022. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2022. And that was ChatGPT 3.
Yep.
4 was announced 6 months later.
Yep.
ChatGPT 5 has been announced last month. What is ChatGPT 5? And how does that compare to ChatGPT 3 and 4?
So 3 and 4 are essentially almost the basic blocks. So they're almost like Google on steroids, right? You can search something up and it gives you information tailored to your niche, right? That's ChatGPT 3. In simple layman terms, they're more of, I would say, they're more of systems that can give you information that you can execute upon almost immediately. When you look at 5 is like a jump. So with 5, ChatGPT 5, you can literally give it access to your online resources and get it to execute on your behalf. If I'm using ChatGPT 5 right now on my phone, I can get it to schedule an appointment in my calendar, in my Google Calendar, with Keone, and send him an email. It can execute within your capability, within your domain. So there's the first part, which is ChatGPT 3 and 4. It would be more of agents, but more, I would say, assistants for clarity. So assistants that can, help you with your work and, give you a bit of feedback, help you move quicker, more efficiently, but then you execute. Then you look at 5, where they're more consultants, that a bit more enhanced, right? So they can now actually execute and help, like, think with you. So with the 3, you're doing most of the thinking, and it's more so just nurturing your thinking.
Mm.
With the 5, though, it thinks with you, but you having your chain of thought, and it's thinking based on real time data, and you can pretty much convert that. You can unite that thought process to deliver a lot better than you would if you're doing it yourself. So it can limit people's ways of thinking because they're not as creative as well.
But that goes back to the prompts, the past, present, and future you give it, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT 5 still relies on that framework.
When you say realize, are you referring to based on an outcome, like looking for a certain outcome, or just
The information you're giving it.
yeah?
It relies on heavily the information you give it to then tailor its approach to what you're asking it, right?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you want to be using these tools to with expectations.
Mm.
You want to use them for them to give you a certain outcome, a good outcome, right? So to enhance that outcome, you would leverage the framework that I just made mention, PPF, past, present, and future, to give it a well-rounded, versatile way of thinking to execute to the best of its abilities.
Good point. Good point. So does that mean ChatGPT 5 can automate content scheduling and website development even? ChatGPT 5?
Yeah, so there's quite a few. So if you look at GPT-5, so GPT-5 can also give you code. It can give you, you don't need to learn code necessarily and understand everything like the nitty gritty, but you can understand the engineering behind the code. And you literally look at it coding for you in real time.
Mm.
And then now the next thing is, do you know how to use this code? Do you know how to customize this? I was building a software. I'm building apps now. Like there's there's levels to this game.
Yeah.
And so funny because even when I go to the gym, there's 3 types of people. There's people who go to the gym with their towel and leave it, and then there's people who go to the gym with their bag, put it on the shelf. There's people who go to the gym with their bag, and each set that they're going through, they're moving with their bag because they carry the resources, the resourcefulness. It's the same with GPT, right? So you can be using ChatGPT to help you fix an email. Then you can be using ChatGPT to build a website. You could use ChatGPT to build, and not ChatGPT, but you can use AI. When I say AI, I define language modules, like language models. But you could use any of these models to build an app. Literally.
So my understanding of it now is ChatGPT 3 and 4 was automating tasks.
Yeah.
ChatGPT 5 is now automating the system for the tasks.
Yeah. 5 is very execution driven. There's a big difference. You can execute a lot more. You can have files. You can save things in a system. You can have order, and you can even choose which. Even on the 4, you could, but it gives you a cleaner approach in choosing what you want to have with a certain agent. You can literally train them based on your life. And the thing is, everything. Imagine your life without a phone. Let's just imagine that for a second.
Okay.
Let's imagine for the next 3 weeks, everybody's phone dead. What happens? Like there's no phones, nobody can use their phones,
Yeah. Society would collapse. Nothing would work. Literally.
right? But I think really in a distorted reality, and I think when you give AI the power to, which is happening, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the other day, but maybe someday, 100 years from now, let's hope. Imagine the agentic systems, because now because what's going to happen, what I see happening is AI is going to get to the point where right now the creators control the online space. But right now AI is going
When
to.
you say creators control the online space, are we talking about Meta, all that?
No.
Or are we talking about that AI?
Creators, so creatives, people who produce content, and they control the algorithm.
Okay, yeah.
People who build these platforms, people who own Instagram, and all of these things, they control the online space. But I trust my opinion. My opinion is that in the next, I don't know how many years, AI is going to control the online space.
100%. Has access to it.
Just think of that for a second. Imagine we get to like 100 years from now and the AI agents that we've built decide to turn off the internet.
It's probably going to get to that stage, eh?
And then human beings are left with human beings. And obviously AI is its own thing. But that would do two things. So my reason why I really focus on AI is because it could do two things. It could really separate us in such a way that now we build all of these agentic systems, and then there's almost a segue, there's a demarcation of what we can do. And now we've built such great things and pushing ourselves away from each other with all the greed, all the selfishness. That's the human nature. And then now the agentic systems, now that we're reliant on them, turn out they disconnect. So they're not against us, they just disconnect what connects us. And then now you're left with people like right now there's a lot of kids who I talk to who don't know like people skills. Right now it's very funny that things like kindness, things like being polite, when somebody encounters somebody who's kind, it's like, oh my god, you're such a great person. It's like, I'm just human. Like this, the bar has been dropped so low that being a good human is just being a human.
I think going back to society and how, like, obviously behind Australia is, I feel like we're so lucky in Australia. Like, you can have your opinion and you won't get shot.
Man, let's not even go there.
But that's where it's getting to. AI is, we're losing our people skills. We're losing our ability to connect. We're losing our ability to, if you have a problem, it's not me versus you, you're a bad person because you believe that. It's now, okay, let's go to the root. It's me, you versus the problem. That is being lost. I feel even seeing that in leadership in this day and age, it's getting replaced by AI. And as a result, we are missing these people skills. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree?
100%. And the reason why I am really concerned, I was looking at the video of, may his soul rest in peace,
Charlie
this
Kirk.
Charlie. So that night, I literally watched the video and I was laying in bed and thinking for a whole minute.
You watched that before you went to bed?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was thinking, it really put me back a bit, and I was thinking and I was wondering, like yesterday, I was just like in my feelings, right? Men have feelings. Let's normalize, men's emotional intelligence, right?
yeah.
I was in my feelings. I went to the gym. I wasn't feeling like working out, and I worked out for 15 minutes, which is like not me. But anyway, so I was in my feelings, real talk, man to man, and I was thinking about just how disconnected and how much there's so much dehumanization in certain actions, right? To see somebody being shot in public, like that was all planned, right? And you look at how these things built. This guy, the person who shot Charlie, did not just wake up. I'm like, you know what? I want to buy a gun today, and let me just
Yeah.
see if it works on a roof and try to shoot someone. That was planned.
Literally.
But that happened over a series of consecutive actions. It was that person being in the wrong environment, maybe that person being around the wrong
Who
people,
knows? AI may have assisted.
that person being nurtured to
Yeah.
become that. So then, which comes back to authenticity. So right now, there's a lot of disconnect. Like even young people, kids right now are always, if you're like 16 and you're always on your phone, please take the time to just, because I know maybe young people may be watching this, but there's so much disconnect. Like the human nature has become so distorted, and it's
Mm.
concerning because we are so glued to our phones, we're so glued to all of these systems. But like I said, it's a tool. It can enhance who we already are, or really just expose our imperfections. And that exposed imperfection could hurt people, could
Mm.
make us not know how to respond to things,
Do you see that being one of the biggest fears? the dehumanization of humans being exposed to this?
I think the biggest things, I look at AI in two ways. I look at AI as AI, and then we are the ones building the AI. Like, I don't forget that.
But the thing is, the world is driven by money, right?
Mm.
Everything, money is fuel for the mission. The problem is people don't have a clear intention. They're going in with AI dictating the flow, whether that's good or bad. So then there's evil in the world, and AI is going to enhance that evil because they have the intention. Literally, we've seen it on social media. So I think that would be one of the biggest fears, personally, for me.
Mm.
Would it be the same for you?
I try not to live by any fear. I fear no man, and my only fear is God, because God is the ultimate control. Like, right now, if God willingly that my life ends, I could be, looking at this beautiful mic and just pop. But I don't choose to live in fear of man. And look, I respect all the laws and the fact that maybe Kiona's been boxing now and he can knock me out. I respect that.
We won't go there yet.
We won't go there yet. But I don't really tell people to live in fear. Live aware. Fear is a response. So living like fear, people live in fear. Fear is a signal. I look at it as a signal. It's your body, it's your environment telling you to, like, hey, be careful.
Would you say consider both sides?
100%. Like, don't live in fear. So fear is essentially, I'm afraid to execute. I can't do this because of these feelings. Whereas courage is, I feel the concern. I feel that Keone has been training Muay Thai and now he could knock me out if I say anything, trashy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
you know, but I won't live in fear. So the thing is, there's a lot, and there's three big things that drive the world: money, sex, and fear. There's
Controversial as well.
fear. That's fear. Yeah. Pretty much. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it dictates the order in which people value something. Obviously, you have your basic needs. If this goes up, I'd like us to show the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it shows your basic needs is, you need shelter and all of these things. Why am I saying all of this? With AI, you want to be in a position where become a better person. Like, if you can become a better person and use AI makes you, like, it reflects the better version of you. Like, if you have bad traits, which we all do,
Yeah.
it can expose that as well. So as we are developing these systems, as we're developing AI, as we're using AI in our business, let's not let AI dictate our fate. Let's get better in our domain, in our fields, but also leveraging, like, 100%. Build something that's an extension of you. But firstly, become a good person. Become the best person at your job, or if you have a business, become the most valuable person on your team. And then build out systems that are an extension of you. But it starts with you becoming better first.
And leverage those AI.
Leverage AI to be 10 times better than you. If, let's say, for instance, if I texted everyone, which now I do, not texting, but I try to ask one person every time I go to the gym, what's one thing you're grateful for? If that could be something that I leverage, and rather than me doing it, I have my AI send automated SMSs to, like, my whole contact list maybe every day and ask them what's one thing you're grateful for. Heck yeah, then I'm, like, using AI to save the world and, like, take me to Mars or something,
Jeremiah, this conversation has been unreal, and I'm super thankful for the eye-opener that it's given me. And I really look forward to seeing where AI is going to take our personal brands, our business, and society. I think it's a very exciting time, but also a very scary time because everything's so new. Couple last questions for you. For someone starting out in business as a business owner, solopreneur, with your knowledge in business and experience with AI, all these implementations, leadership, what is one piece of advice you would tell someone that's new taking this first step that they can apply today based on your journey?
Master self. Become so self-aware of yourself, your limitations, your strengths, your weaknesses. Master yourself. Become, like, I was saying this to somebody the other day. Yeah, I talk a lot. So master self, take that. Now let me yap. So become so self-aware of yourself. Do you realize right now you're sitting on a chair?
No, I just thought I was
You just thought you're levitating, right?
Yeah, of course.
No, you didn't realize until I brought it up. You were so in the moment. You weren't in tune. Do you realize that your feet are on the ground? Now you can feel the ground, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now do you feel the chair? You feel the chair, right?
Yeah.
You can feel it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now can you feel your nose?
No.
Okay. Do you feel your eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you feel yourself smiling? Feel yourself. You can feel your cheekbones, right?
Yeah.
What am I trying to drive across? That's level of self-aware. You're not just smiling. You're aware that you're smiling.
Okay.
You're intentionally in the moment. You are where you are. You're mastering yourself. So with self-mastery, it's becoming so aware of your weaknesses, becoming so aware of your strengths and using them, executing on them. Now in business, if you're starting out in business, obviously self-mastery, that looks like reading books. Understand, if you if you don't know where you want to be, where you want to what you want to do with your future, this is my advice to people. Develop character, but figure out whose problems you want to solve in the world. That's the best way to figure out your purpose. Like, that's a selfless way, but it's a self-fulfilling way, because at the end of the day, we're looking for self-fulfillment. So rather than saying, what do I want to be? What do I want to do? What business should I start? Don't be so selfish to think the world evolves around you, even though it might. Start with looking at whose problems can I solve?
Mm.
That's what you should start with in business, solving problems. Whose problems would I be excited to solve? Right? It gives you a different perspective, because most people say, I'm going to start a business. I was having this conversation with this girl, and she was asking me what my passion is. And I literally told her my perception of passion has changed. Passion is not this thing, like, passion is not this thing that people paint it. It's like happiness. People say, I want to be happy. Happiness is for kids. Happiness is, your boy with the balloon and, running at the park.
Is it?
That's how you'd be shocked how people perceive happiness.
Mm.
It's more of fulfillment and having that understanding. The question was here and now I'm here. But anyway, let's allow it.
This is, I guess, answering the question of the mastering self, like character, the problem you want to solve. What problem can I help solve?
That's it.
And driving your passion from that.
Yeah. But understand that passion is not like what excites you. It could be, but the actual definition of passion is, what are you willing to suffer for? What are you willing to suffer for? I suffer for business. I love it because there are days where I'm like, oh my goodness, we're down in revenue, or we've done it. We've had a big expense that hasn't paid dividends or whatever it is. Choose something that is worth suffering for. That's the definition of passion.
I love that. You mentioned read a book, Self Mastery.
Yeah.
What book did you read that flicked the switch for you? What book was it?
So, if you want to understand whether or not you want to have a job, have a business, be an investor, cash flow quadrants is, I don't even get paid enough to be promoting this book, but if there's anything that I can do in this world is have an impact. Cash flow quadrants really opened my eyes when it comes to understanding the different acumens of business and life. You can be an employee, you can be a business owner, small business owner, or an investor. And there's principles in which you don't just wake up as an employee and say, I want to be an investor. It's like, no, dude, like, chill out, like,
Yeah.
I get it. So cash flow quadrants is one of them. Think and Grow Rich, really, I'm reading it right now as well. It really,
For the first time?
third time.
Third time, nice.
Or fourth time, actually. I read it almost every year. So Think and Grow Rich really, it opens your mind to a different perception or approach towards wealth. And the name of the book is Think and Grow Rich, but I read it as Think and Become Wealthy and Stay Wealthy. That's why I read it.
Mm.
Because it's one thing, I can give you $1 million and you're a millionaire, but staying a millionaire is a different
Yeah.
game. That's where reading books like this comes into play. So when you get the $1 million, now it's not like, oh shit, what do I do? 'Cause-
G-Wagon.
Yeah. You've been prepping it out, right? So
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich helps you with when it comes to those type of wealth generational secrets. And then the last one I'd say would probably be, I'll give two more. Think and Grow Rich is the second one,
Yep.
and then The Power of Broke. I've been broke before, and it really teaches you to know that it's a superpower. The power of broke.
Mm.
When your back is against the wall, when you've got $0, you think different. You're creative, like you think different. The power of broke really teaches you to be resourceful. And then the last one would probably be, it should have been the first one anyways, the Bible. And the reason why I say the Bible is because it's got so many different stories, man.
Mm.
And it's got so many different stories. I'm not religious in the aspect of, this religion or whatever. I believe we should all love, and I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God. But the Bible changed my life. I haven't been reading as much as I should, but those are the top 4 books.
Amen. The last guest I interviewed on the podcast left a question for you, not knowing who you are, what business you're in, or your mission. The question is, what does success mean to you?
Success for me is impact. Success for me is I live like I could die at any moment. Like if I'm okay if I died today. I don't want it to happen. I'm okay if I die tomorrow. But I'm confident that even if I died today or tomorrow, I've left an impact on your life.
Mm.
And somebody may watch this podcast and maybe one little thing that I said could now drive them to start that business, drive them to start implementing AI, drive them to start reading books, drive them to take their life serious, to be intentional. So for me, success is having such a dent on the planet.
Mm.
Like not a scratch or like a mark, like a dent. There's
Legacy.
a legacy, like a punch. There's certain people who walk the earth and they're still alive. Imagine being alive, dying, and when you die is when you're more alive. That's what I want. That's success to me.
What question do you want to leave for the next guest, not knowing who they are, what mission they're on, or business?
If today was your last day, how would you spend?
Love that. Jeremiah Bear,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Appreciate it.